One. Okay,
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the meeting of the State of Hawaii Board of Agriculture and Biosecurity. I am the chair, Sharon Hurd. Prior to calling the meeting to order, Kevin will explain how the public can participate in this hybrid meeting, which can be accessed by video conference, telephone, or in person. Apologize for the late start. Is it playing? Did we read it, Kevin? Is that still at limits? You know, that little button on the bottom, is that supposed to be 2 bars?
sorry, technical difficulties, everyone.
Thank you. Testifiers are reminded that there is a 2-minute time limit of testimony per agenda item. If there is anyone testifying in the room, please be sure to come up to the mic and identify yourself before you begin. Calling the meeting to order, the November 25th, 2025 meeting, calling to order at 9:17. Meeting, roll call vote. I will take a roll call vote of the board. When your name is called, please indicate your presence with a here or present and state who, if anyone over the age of 18, is present with you in the room. This also serves as a roll call vote. For each subsequent vote, I will ask if there are any objections or recusals. If there are none, the motion will be approved on the same basis as this initial roll call. Okay, calling Brian Nielsen, DLNR.
Present, and I'm alone in my office.
Thank you. Dr. Parwinder Graywall from CTAR is excused. Mark Takamoto, DBET.
Present, alone.
Diane Lay, Hawaii member.
Present and alone.
Nathaniel Oswald, Maui County member.
Present and alone.
N. Young, member at large, is excused. James Gomes, member at large.
Aloha kakayaka, present and alone.
Thank you, James. And Sharon Hurd is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have quorum. Thank you. Approval of the minutes for the October 28th, 2025 meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So move, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. May I have a second?
I'll second that, Diane.
Thank you, Diane. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony? Hearing none. Okay, then board discussion. I do have a amendment, it's on page 7, very, very minor, line 14. If we could correct the, even if jurists were no longer involved, that would be my only correction. Okay, any other board discussion? See, hearing none.
Chair, I'll abstain from this vote since I wasn't present at that meeting. Thank you.
If you've seen the motion's gonna fail.
Okay,
We can put it on to the next agenda.
we'll put this on the next agenda. I have a question.
Yes.
If the minutes are corrected by the next meeting, do we still have to, call for the vote? I mean, is it still important to make that amendment if it's been
No,
made? No,
it's been made, then it'll be,
reflected in the corrected minutes. Okay, so, board, we're going to defer for the next meeting as we don't have quorum for a vote. Okay, moving on the agenda, we have, communications from divisions and administration. Item A1 is a request for approval for one Class C qualified farm loan for co-borrowers, Malolo Farm LLC and Allison Minnie, member manager. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So moved, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, may I have a second?
Second, Diane.
Thank you, Diane. And presentation by staff.
Good morning, Chairperson and members of the board. My name is Andrew Robinson. I'm just recently put in as acting administrator for the Agricultural Loan Division. Our previous administrator, Buddy Nichols, unfortunately went back to the federal government, but we're happy for him. I've been with the department since January. My prior position was as the Administrative Services Officer, working with Sharon. My family moved to Oahu in 2023, so been here a couple of years, and my background was with New York State government, working in financial administration, and then I also spent about 10 years creating and running my own apple orchard in New York State. The request before the board today is for a 10-year loan. It's a fixed rate of 4% for a total of $94,772. As Sharon noted, it's under the Class C operating program. The borrower is Allison Minnie. She's the sole member manager of Malolo Farms LLC, and she fits the definition of a qualified farmer. Allison has been farming protea flowers in upcountry Maui for the last 35 years. She is known as an expert in the field in growing and distributing the protea flower stems and potted plants. Initially, she farmed with her husband, Mark, back in the 80s. In 2018, Allison's mother purchased a farm from Mark's family, and Allison became the farm manager. And just recently this year in February, she inherited sole ownership of the 5.77 acre farm. The purpose of the loan is to help the farm increase production and revenue, similar to what they had back in 2022. The requested heavy equipment will allow the farm to backfill and grade a 3/4 acre site that is a natural sinkhole, as well as clear old, larger protea plants and other vacant land to renew current plantings and expand the total area in production from 3 to 4 acres. Specifically, the request includes purchase of a 2020 Kubota excavator for $67,000, purchase of a rotating grapple saw attachment for the excavator for $37,000, and $10,000 to pay off an existing FSA loan. The borrower's equity towards the project is $20,000 that they've already paid as a deposit on the excavator. The loan would be secured specifically by interest in the new equipment, the excavator and the grapple saw attachment, as well as a blanket security interest in all existing farm crops, accounts, inventory, and equipment. So if we look at the existing farm chattel and assets to secure the loan, it would include 2 greenhouses, a tractor, attachments, significant plant inventory. The total would be valued at $257,000. So this would result in a loan to value amount of 26%. In just a little background, in 2023 and 2024, Allison was on the mainland taking care of her mother, who eventually passed. Allison's back in Hawaii now. I think they have a good plan to increase their production with this equipment. Essentially just replant old areas of the farm. The loan is also secured by a personal guarantee from Jason Yagi. Jason is the fiance of Amanda Minnie, who's Allison Minnie's daughter. Jason and Amanda have been running the farm during Allison's absence and have done a good job. Jason and Amanda both live on the farm, and Jason is an experienced heavy equipment operator. I recommend approval for this loan request. Is there any questions from the board?
Well, thank you, Andrew. We go to the public.
Oh,
first.
public, the other one.
Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony? Kevin? No? Seeing no hands, is there board discussion? Hearing, seeing none. Any objections or recusals? Hearing none. The motion is approved unanimously. Thank you, Andrew. Moving on to the second item B, Agricultural Resource Management Division, item 1. Acceptance for annual renewal after the fact of revocable permits omitted from the 2025 renewal list for TMK's numbers, and as you see on your agenda, 16-9-001, 002, 003, POR and 36, and 5-2-001, 017 statewide. May I have a motion to hear the request?
So move, Jimmy.
Jimmy, motion to accept the request. Thank you, Jimmy. May we have a second?
Diane, I'll second it.
Thank you, Diane. And presentation by staff.
Good morning, Chair, board members. I'm Kevin Moore with the Agricultural Resource Management Division. So
No, that's B.
this item B1
I see.
is
There's
the
two parts to it.
basically the annual renewal of our revocable permits for 2026.
Yeah, you didn't read that.
Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry, I have a procedural error.
Okay.
I didn't realize that we're hearing 1 and 2 together. So I'm going to
Read the second part.
read the second part, and I'll do it as you see on your agenda. We're also hearing a request for acceptance for annual renewal of revocable permits for 2026 for TMK numbers starting as written, 4-1-008, 017, and 072 through 4-1-001, 012, 4-1-009, 005, and 006 statewide. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So move, Jimmy.
Jimmy, thank you.
And second,
Second.
Diane.
Thank you,
Second,
Diane.
Diane.
Thank you, Diane. And presentation by staff.
Good morning, Chair, board members, Kevin Moore, Agricultural Resource Management Division. So this request is basically to renew our revocable permits that we have in our inventory for 2026. And we have actually 24 permits. But 2 of those have already been approved for conversion to long-term leases. And so we're just including them on this list in case the lease is not done before next year, but we think it will be done anyway. If the lease is done, those RPs will drop out. 6 of the RPs just came over recently from DLNR as part of the Act 90 transfer. So we'll be bringing those to the board for conversion, as we can get to them. And so we also have this other part of the request to fix an oversight from the 2025 renewal where we left out 2 RPs that should have been included, and those are more detail on those is on page 2, RP 6814 Toronto P. Wiedenbach, DBA Hawaii Fish Company, and RP 3157 to Molokai Homestead Livestock Association. And I just want to make one correction. We say that both of those RPs continue to pay rent and post liability insurance. Actually, Molokai Homestead Livestock Association does not have a current insurance certificate on file with us, but we're working with them to get it addressed ASAP. And so The staff recommendation is that the board approve the continuation of the two revocable permits omitted from 2025 as listed in Exhibit A after the fact on a month-to-month basis effective January 1, 2025 for a one-year period through December 31, 2025. And two, approve the continuation of the revocable permits for 2026, including the two omitted permits from 2025 as listed on Exhibit A on a month-to-month basis effective January 1, 2026 for a one-year period through December 31, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony? No hands? Okay, thank you. Board discussion. Jimmy, thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say mahalo to Chair Hurd and Chair Don Chang and staff for looking into transferring these leases, which is Act 90, that started in 2003 from DLNR to DOAB. And I have seen more movement since Chair Hurd and Chair Chang came on board. So I really like to say mahalo for all of that. And hopefully these RPs we can turn into long-term dispositions for our farmers or ranching stakeholders. Thank you.
Thanks for that comment, Jimmy. Recognizing Diane Lay.
I'd like to echo Jimmy's comments. Much appreciated the movement on this. I just wanted to note that if, and I know this is not necessarily in the department's control, but it would be great if DLNR can complete the subdivision, the survey and subdivision for Hawaii Fish Company. Ron Weidenbach, the tenant, has been, I would say, long-suffering government's processes, which have been complicated by, a state-owned parcel with a site that had multiple challenges due to past uses of the site. So not necessarily anyone's fault, but it'd be great if we can get that lease accomplished in the next year. That's just my 2 cents on it. Thank you. Appreciate all the other efforts.
Thank you, Diane. I'm sure Ron appreciated your comment as well. Okay, any other board? Oh, we got Jimmy, your hands up.
No, I'm done.
Okay, any other board discussion? Hearing, seeing none. We will call for the vote. Are there any objections or recusals? Here is, pardon? Unanimous. Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Okay, moving on to item B2. Hey, Chair, request for acceptance of annual lease rent as determined by independent appraisal for rent reopenings of four TMK numbers as written 4-1-008-045 through as written and 7-3-049-004 statewide. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So move, Jimmy.
Jimmy, thank you. And second,
Diane, I'll second it.
thank you, Diane. And presentation by staff.
Good morning again, Kevin Moore, Agricultural Resource Management Division. So, yeah, this is pretty straightforward. We're just asking the board to approve the rents for the rent reopenings that are coming up in 2026. This board can see from the spreadsheet, there's a mix of increases and decreases in rent. There are some significant increases. However, the appraiser is using, for diversified ag, the appraiser is using a 0.75% rate of return on land value across the board, so there's consistency there. We think the rents are reasonable and ask the board to approve them, and so staff recommends that the board accept the fair market rents for the various agricultural park and non-agricultural park leases listed in Exhibit A. The new rental rates will take effect upon the reopening dates for each lease. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Does it, wait a minute, I'm lost. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony? No hands? Okay. And board discussion? Oh, Diane.
Chair. Maybe I'm confusing this process with past ones, but I thought in the past, the board received a confidential exhibit that shared what the existing rental rates were for comparison to the proposed rates. So that would be helpful, just so that we're, have better awareness of the overall rate increases in an area as well as individual parcels.
Policy.
Diane, good point. Kevin, was that provided?
I would have to double check with staff. We have it prepared, and so if it wasn't submitted, it must have been by oversight. So I apologize for that.
So
That's fine. None of these seem, like significant costs for the amount of acreage. It just, it's always just helpful for the board to have the detail.
That's a
Thank
very
you.
good point, Diane.
So I have the question, Diane, would you prefer to defer this, or would you prefer to have a vote and then receive the information later?
I'm fine with going ahead with the vote. I mean, I just looked at the acreage and the rental rates and the location, and it's just from basically my knowledge, none of them seem to be at like 500% increases or anything. So that's what it looked like to me. So I'm good with moving forward.
Anyone on the board wish to comment? Call for the vote.
As long as there's no more discussion.
If there's no further discussion, hearing, seeing none, calling for the vote. Any objections or recusals? Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Marcy, can you call Jonathan? Okay, so moving on to old business, none. There's new business, none. Oh, new business, yes. Every week we have a non-action item. We have a report on the invasive species action plan. Wait. I know that we had a biosecurity briefing yesterday at the Capitol. Jonathan will quickly give us an update on that. Waiting for him. Sorry for the delay. Presentation by staff.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board, John Pinho, Plant Quarantine Branch Manager. Reminder, broad agenda item, provide you folks with an update. Obviously, unfortunately, again, updates cannot occur, and I apologize on that, and I'll work with the chair's office to have a detailed agenda item for the next board meeting. So, and if there's anything that the board would like to see, please let me know, and we'll work with you folks to get that on the agenda. So real quick, we'll start off with recruitment. We hired 3 critical positions in the division. The first is the GIS program manager. So his name is Craig Clouet. He used to work for the governor's office and prior to that with Esri. So that's kind of the company that does ArcGIS. So he has 27 years of experience in GIS work. He started on the 3rd of November, on November 3rd. And he's really basically hit the ground running and is overseeing the implementation of the PEST dashboard that was required in Act 236. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The second position was the hiring of Esther Reichert as the pesticides branch manager. She started on the 17th. She's been in the role as in temporary assignment since the departure of the prior branch manager. and she's been an environmental health specialist in the pesticides branch. So, she's been hitting the ground running. And the last position is the hiring of the plant quarantine branch nursery specialist, Don Yanagisawa in Hilo. So he started on the 14th of November, and he's been an inspector with plant quarantine for almost 20 years. He was also prior the master journeyman in Hilo, and then also the Hawaii district supervisor. We're going to be conducting interviews, plant quarantine for the plant specialist, the insect specialist, and the Oahu and maritime supervisors in the next 2 weeks. The land vertebrate specialist position didn't have any qualified applicants, so we're going to be kind of tweaking that and rerunning it. And with Don's selection as the nursery specialist, his position as the Hawaii district supervisor was reopened, and for an IVA, an internal vacancy announcement, and it's going to be closing this Friday. So we're hoping that we'll have applicants there and we can hire all the remaining high-level positions in plant quarantine branch. Regarding the biosecurity website, so it is live now. It was turned on yesterday. You can go to the site. It's biosecurity.hawaii.gov. And basically Act 236 required implementation by December 1st. So we're a little ahead of that. And currently it contains departmental data for high pathogen, avian influenza, CRB, COKI, and LFA. So I think what we can do is for the next board meeting, we can probably have Craig provide you folks with like a demonstration, I think, of the site so you can kind of see how it works. I think that'll be better, but I think until then, the site is live and you folks can go through it. Basically, all the information is broken down by zip code, and you'll be able to kind of see what work's been done. And the data is kind of segregated by pests. Craig is going to be working with the partners because a lot of other folks besides the department do work on these pests. So Craig's working with the partners to gather data so that it can enhance the dashboard. Act 236 did require that folks who are doing work provide data to be able to obtain state funding. So we're making sure that that can occur. And ultimately, the goal of the dashboard is to kind of to be a centralized place for pest-related activities and reporting, data collection, all that kind of stuff is there. And when you look at each of the pests, there's general information and there's things that people can do and also how they can report. So currently, like we use reporting with the pest hotline, 808-643-PEST, 7378, and then also 643pest.org, which is run by HISC. So we've created an electronic submission so that folks who use the phone number can basically electronically submit directly to us. So kind of help facilitate the transmission of information. We had some bunch of things running around at the harbors. So we had 3 rapid responses. 2 were for skunks and 1 was for an opossum. So we had 2 skunks, one on the 7th in Hilo Harbor. And in the initial responses when the initial reports that we got, there were talks that there were 2 animals running around because we were getting from 2 different parties. And what ended up happening is one party thought they had contained it. And while the other party was calling us, telling it was contained, they saw the animal, which had escaped. So anyway, it was the same animal, but we couldn't confirm that. So we did trapping beyond our normal routine. No other animals were found. The animal was submitted for rabies testing, negative, which is good. The other one was on the 13th in Honolulu Harbor. It was reported by CBP officials on the 11th. And staff were, I think that's the holiday. Anyway, staff went out. Area isn't really good for visual searches, couldn't find it, deployed traps. And we were able to capture it on the 13th. We probably would have captured it earlier, but the weather was really bad. And we think that the animal kind of hunkered down. Same thing, tested for rabies, negative. And then there was an opossum yesterday at a Maui car dealership. The dealership officials reported that they'd seen the opossum in the undercarriage of a new vehicle. Basically, kind of everybody on Maui kind of went. Ultimately, the animal was euthanized by DLNR. It's being sent to Oahu for processing. We believe all the animals are likely stowaways on the cargo ships and all pretty closely tied to vehicle movement. And the last thing is with Act 236, there was a requirement to do GIAs, so government industry agreements. As Chair will know, that acronym is confusing for a lot of folks because GIA, I think most people can think of it as grant and aid. So for the purpose of the conversation, it's government industry agreement. We'll figure out a way to change in the statute so that it's not confusing when we do the acronym salad when we talk about this. But again, the GIAs are required under Act 236. And the goals of the GIAs are to develop partnerships between industry and government with the intent of preventing, detecting, and managing pests and diseases. And the agreements are going to help to bolster the biosecurity network for the state by increasing capacity and capability and readiness and response for pests that are not here and for those that are already here. And with the last thing of making a joint decision-making and cost-sharing partnership so that the industries that are signing on to these programs have a formal role with the government in managing biosecurity risks and also protecting Hawaii. The concept really envisions that the government will be providing education and training, supplies and equipment, and the management programs for the particular pests, and again, allowing the signatory industries to be part of the decision-making process. And it would require the industries to again provide that manpower, some of their existing equipment and supplies that they do have, their participation in surveillance on the properties that they are already managing, and then to train them for response readiness or have agreements that if there is need for their manpower to be able to activate them for responses. And the way we're going to really be working with this is through a contract that we issued to UH-C.T.A.R. with Act 231 funds. The contract was for about $800,000 for a systems approach for pest management. We're going to be splitting the money between floriculture and nursery and for fruit and veg crops, and with the goal of creating systems approaches for pest management for about 7 to 10 target pilot nurseries, and we're going to be trying to target ant species, so like particularly little fire ant, red-reported fire ant, coconut rhinoceros beetle, and Queens and longhorn beetle, which is, I think, an emerging problem, particularly on Hawaii Island. And for the fruit vegetable, it's trying to rebolster the old area-wide pest suppression for fruit fly. So the contract's for 2 years, and the goal is the first year to really get the research, get all the agreements out, do some targeted implementation, and with the second year of deployment beyond just the targeted groups, and then to additional industry groups. Again, this is proof of the goal of the meeting for HEFNA was a proof of concept so that they understood what we were doing, how we were moving forward. And because this was a high-level meeting, we told them that, again, there's going to be a formal draft agreement for review by their board and for their members, obviously prior to implementation. After the result of the meeting, the board was in full support of the effort. And, it's going to be one way for us to, again, just to create more capacity, very similar to the New Zealand model. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so two things, Jonathan. One is just on that GIA
Hmm.
that we're planning with HIFNA. I wanted you to kind of elaborate on how this action that we're taking through Act 236 prepares the industry and the public and what the rapid response is, because it's really quite unique that we would do this, engage the public in our response. The preparation, of course, you mentioned was the training and how to recognize, but let's use our
Yeah,
red imported, how to recognize. Thank you.
Yeah, so one of the things that so I guess one of the issues with a lot of the responses, particularly for pests that get past the, that become established, is that no one agency has the capability or resources to really do it on its own. And as we're seeing, I think CRB is probably, probably the I guess the most current, example of this, even with a lot of the efforts that we're able to, that we're utilizing with the existing partners as it relates to CRB and Kona, it is still continuing to, do its thing. So by utilizing these agreements, well, maybe let me step back. So the goal is to be less reactive and to be more proactive, and to create very standardized plans for all people who are going to be part of a response to very specific things. And one of the biggest goals, as Chair said, is to have the industry be part of the surveillance, right? That early detection for pests, and to also enable them to be able to be immediately deployed for action. Because right now, when you look at a lot of the issues with CRB, it's basically all in the state agencies or partners who are doing all the work. And having these agreements in place, for the benefits would require them to take very specific action that they're going to be agreeing to. And that would obviously enable us to act quicker. And the expectation for them would be made ahead of time. Whatever the new pest is going to be, like the Chair said, red imported fire ant, they need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And having that agreement ahead of time, should there be a detection, we're able to immediately respond and deploy all of these folks who are trained. And while the GIA is very specific to industry, the goal is with these plans to also include the public. Because again, the public is, a whole nother subsect of folks who are able and potentially using a similar form to utilize, members of the public to do kind of the same thing. So that, again, there's just more capacity to do work should there be an incursion moving forward for targeted pests. Again, red imported fire rat, brown tree snake, whatever the next thing is. And I think being more proactive and less reactive is the goal.
Yeah, I think it was really a good move. The other thing, Jonathan, was in the dashboard. I noticed at yesterday's biosecurity briefing, only Oahu was posted.
Yeah, so so when you folks look at the dashboard, because multiple partners are doing work, and a lot of it right now, especially for Koki, LFA, and CRB, it's very Oahu centric because most of the staff, most of it is being done by PQB. The PPC folks, you will see data for Kona because the PPC staff have been, working really, really hard with a lot of the treatments in Kona. And we do have some data for Kauai that we're working to kind of clean up to include. And as we get the partners in, because a lot of the partners do a lot of this work on the other islands. Again, the department isn't the only person doing a lot of this post-border work, particularly for LFA, CRB, and Koki. So like I said before, Craig is going to be working with those individual, he's only one guy. So I think he's going to be working with BISC. I think next week he's going to be meeting with BISC, and then I think OISC the following week. show them the dashboard, see what the interface is like, see what data they have, and find a way to just integrate them into it. And then obviously, you know, that data, you know, it's gonna be reported, whatever work that they're doing, that's their data. You know, we're not there to take credit for the work that they're doing, but I think the goal of the dashboard was to really centralize stuff, just because there's so many people doing the work. Having a centralized place for everybody to kind of come and look, as opposed to trying to figure out where they gotta go for a lot of these, at least these target pests. And then as we fix these four, we'll then be able to expand it to other pests. So probably the two that would be the most likely to be implemented would be BTS activities. So we have a lot of that already. And then a lot of the pest hotline responses as well, because I think those two things kind of work well with the geospatial stuff. So hopefully we can get that stuff in as kind of like the next step as we build in more of those existing four.
Thank you, Jonathan. Before I ask, I'm asking the board, did I ask the
No,
public,
yeah.
any public testimony? I mean, discussion? No, okay, so any conversation on the board?
I think you can,
Yeah.
you can't, because it's listed.
It's okay, then I do have another thing.
Yeah.
On the website, the biosecurity website that just launched, I thought we were gonna put Akamai arrival info on there.
We could. I guess there's no, there's nothing preventing us from doing it. And then, yeah, we're working with DOT and DBED for that Go Hawaii app or whatever. So I think that yeah, I think I guess how the biosecurity website will, I guess hub and spoke with everything else. I think we're gonna I think we're gonna have to figure out how we want to best do it, but I think ultimately the goal was to get it up and running so that I think folks can see it working. Well, I forgot to add with the biosecurity website. There is some interactivity as you go through it. Some of the maps are interactive. You'll be able to click onto it. The data is somewhat static. So we're going to be updating it I think quarterly at this point until we can build in automation. So with the intent of having the field staff be able to collect data in the field, come back, basically kind of clean it up and be days, not months. So it'll be pretty close to real time, because obviously we just want to make sure that all the stuff works out well. But the goal is to make it pretty much I think as close to real time as possible. But right now it is somewhat static.
I was quite self-serving by asking the Akamai arrival question because it's doing so well.
Yeah, so Akamai arrival is so Akamai arrival now, so all the flights, all airlines are now participating in the program. Some are better than others. I guess on average, so the prior average we were getting probably about 60% of the agriculture forms. We're getting about 70 to 75% on average. Obviously some better than others. Some airlines are better than others. We're still working through, I think, some of the quirks, particularly with the holiday schedule and the way that we're getting some of the data. We've been having some challenges, particularly with delayed flights, but then the staff have been working through it. And we're trying to figure out, I think, particularly with a lot of the airlines that do the in-flight use of the form, we've been finding that to be far more problematic than the folks that are doing it pre-departure. So they're doing it at the gate departure as opposed to those doing it in-flight. The in-flight seems to be less consistent, and we're trying to see if we can incentivize folks to do it pre-departure, and like Chair said, right, the form, the declaration is kind of a work in progress, and there's this kind of push to kind of try to use the form as a way to kind of help manage I think the user or the visitor experience, and we're working with DOT and DBED HTA on utilizing the declaration as kind of
The back of the form.
Yeah, the back portion of the form, but I guess to lead them into like not just the back of the form, but a whole host of other I guess visitor related resources, traffic and maps and things like that for the airports and flights and stuff like that. Just so there's a better user experience, and because everyone needs to fill out the ag form, it makes sense to, you know, have them complete it and then go and get more benefits for when they're in the state. Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan, very much. Any more discussion? No, okay, otherwise, okay, I'm, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Come on, Jimmy.
So move, Jimmy.
Okay, thank you, Diane, for the second.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded for adjourning, and meeting is adjourned and.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving to all.
Thanksgiving.
Next,
Mahalo.
next
Happy
meeting will
Thanksgiving.
be, Marcy. December 23rd. December 23rd is the next scheduled meeting. Marcy will be sending out a notice, whether to reschedule or have it on that day. Okay, everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.